You did Live at the Apollo. Very fucking exciting. That was a shit one-liner, but it existed.
Yeah.
Clap!
I've only got there because of diversity. Well, fuck you, Shane. I don't get as much hate as I feel like I deserve.
You're making me feel like a piece of shit.
Funny! Just funny.
Does this feel like a bedroom? Now that you're in it, does this feel like a bedroom?
It feels like an amateur porn setup in a bedroom, yeah. That's what it feels like.
Bagsy top, you get tail.
It's exactly how I wanted it to feel.
Yeah, Aaron's filming his OnlyFans stuff.
You're in the middle because you can't run.
Yeah, this is an interchangeable sign. It changes to your legs.
Yeah.
It's that's how I want it to feel. That's why you're the first guest.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah,
I'm a whore, to be fair, for a podcast. So here I am.
Yeah, it's giving big porn style vibes. I do understand that. Yeah.
No, but I like it. I think you did a great job.
Thanks.
Like, where was your bed?
My bed was exactly where you are.
Right.
Actually, yeah.
So you've been in this position and masturbated.
Yeah.
Oh God, I never even considered that. You know,
weirdly thinking about you.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah,
I hadn't met you yet, but that happened. Yeah,
so
didn't know you existed.
I'm always intrigued by bedroom setup. So your bed was here.
Yeah.
Right. What did you have in the rest of the room?
A wardrobe was on that wall there.
Yeah.
Obviously, the viewers can't see it, but there was a wardrobe on that wall
and
there.
Was this wall always here? So when you opened the door, this wall was here?
Was the wall always there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Do you honestly think he built
I didn't
a
share
fucking
my
wall?
mum next door.
Well, no, you might put up another fake wall, I don't know, to do some
You think
sounds.
I'm that good?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
It's actually a compliment.
Yeah, it's quite nice, actually.
You're pretty good. I mean, this bit is.
Yeah,
Don't pick that.
Well, basically, so what happened was...
Whole thing just comes tumbling
This
down.
little bitch peeling.
Turns out it's Lego. Anyway, thanks so much for watching.
That would be great.
I've worked so hard.
Wouldn't it be so funny if I just peeled one off?
I can't even tell you the rage that would come over me.
Like he's laughing, but he's genuinely like, don't
Genuinely
fucking do
angry.
it.
I would absolutely just, oh my God. Your fee for tonight wouldn't exist. It barely exists anyway. It's not that high, is it?
Well, I don't even know. I never asked, do I?
You never asked. Oh, that's interesting. 40 quid.
Okay, fine, there you go.
Yeah, basically these were like self-adhesive. We were going to put planks of wood up. So this is before when I was talking about all the problems that would arrive.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've already spoke about. We recorded earlier today, and we've already sort of mentioned a lot of
issues.
A lot of the not the issues, but like talked about this a lot. So it might be a bit fucking dull now. But anyway,
Check out that previous episode.
There we go. Professional.
yeah, you watch that, and then we'll move on. Anyway, yeah. So we were going to put planks of wood on the wall at first, and then stain them. But then I was like, that's so much fucking work. Found out that this was an option, so I thought, sick, I'll just put that on. It looks all right. It's very obviously floor tiles on a wall, but who's asked?
It looks great.
Just one of those, like you say, it is peeling a little bit from places, but I use like no more nails to put it on the wall.
I think you've done a fantastic job. I would,
there wasn't enough of it, I guess.
We need
do need more podcasts.
We need more young, sprightly comedians setting things up from the ground up. And this is good. This is a good thing.
I also like that because of the location of the podcast, I got to see a picture of Aaron as a child for the first time today, and I'll show you it afterwards. I swear.
I've only seen a picture of Aaron as a child. Many pictures of Aaron.
I was astounded.
Weirdly, he was sat upright like that, wanking.
I was astounded by the size of his forehead, Genuinely, like...
Why do you think he's got that stupid
I know,
freak?
it's an optical illusion. You've
I'm not
mentioned
offended. It's correct.
But I've never quite, that is such an optical illusion because
He's got the hairstyle of a mixed race guy. Cover the front of his forehead.
It is only a few curls away from a Jerry, innit? He's almost got Jerry curls. Get a bit of wetness, get a wet look gel on that. We're talking Jerry curls.
No matter what you say, this is fine. Oh, your tiles are peeling, and you've got a weird head. Sleep on.
Hey, that's what you wanted.
Yeah.
On brand.
I've been insulted in this bedroom before. Don't worry. Weirdly, it was how small that one was. Yeah, made a dick joke so soon on. Anyway,
very good.
I noticed a few coughs from you before, Eshaan. Are you?
Say that again.
You're battling.
Noticed a few coughs.
Yes. I have AIDS.
Known for its coughs.
2 weeks ago, I had this. The thing that everyone's tweeting about at the moment.
Yeah, everyone's moaning.
Guys, what is this thing that isn't quite COVID, but is a lot like
We spoke about that last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
It's driving us insane.
Just everyone tweeting about it. I think it is COVID, But the world has decided we can't go through that again.
Yeah.
Like, this is
We're in
another
denial.
variant, but they're like, no, fuck that. It is what it is. We've given people 3 jabs or 4 jabs, if you're my brother, because he's fat.
I also had 4 jobs.
Hey, it checks out. It does check out.
It really checks out.
I've had 3, so...
I'm on 3 too, come on.
Yeah,
and you think I'd be a 4. That's the thing. You look at me and think, he's a 4, but no,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm definitely a 3.
Yeah, no, you're a 10, baby.
Oh,
Don't worry.
thank you, David. So I think it was COVID. So I had that, and then the moment I felt a bit better, I was like, right, I'm going to go out.
Yeah.
And I got a chest infection.
On top of it all.
On top of it all. So I'm still not completely over it.
Just a social butterfly. You can't resist, can you?
I can't help it. I'm
People
obsessed,
need
man.
you.
He
You gotta
messaged
give
me
the people
before
what
and he
they want.
goes, I'm up early tomorrow, so I have to be good tonight.
Yeah.
And then just put laughing emojis.
You don't even trust yourself.
Yeah, I know. It's really bad. At my age, you'd expect me to kind of just chill out on this stuff, but I have serious FOMO
Yeah.
about everything.
Well, put it this way, my car's parked downstairs and I'm going to walk to the show later. Just because you never know. Could always get a taxi back to home.
I'll be driving back home to my wife.
Yeah.
I'm a good boy.
Yeah.
Your wife? She's nice.
Yeah,
Because you got married recently, didn't you?
Yeah, September. Yeah, it's not too long
Congratulations.
ago,
September's a good month.
I'm all blinged up. Aaron's like rolling his eyes because that's all I ever fucking talk about now.
In the build up, it's all he spoke about. Oh, I got this the wedding. And now he's had the wedding. He's like, oh, do you remember that wedding?
I've got a wife now.
Oh, you're talking about the wedding?
I
I thought you were like talking about marriage. Like you were so happy
And I would
about.
understand if it was one of your weddings. Not your weddings, but like your weddings. Do you know what I mean? Big weddings.
don't know what he means
I
by
don't know what you mean
that.
either.
What do you mean by that, mate?
What, an Essex wedding? My big fat Essex wedding.
I'm coughing now. It's your fault.
Yeah. It's contagious.
Do you grin and bear it when you're sick? Because he was sick on
No,
the
we'll talk
podcast
about
a
this in
couple
the
of
car
weeks
then.
ago.
I just get sad.
Yeah, do you grin and bear
Well, we were talking about this in the car. So he gets sad. I feel pathetic.
it? Yeah.
And they're probably 2 sides of the same coin, I suppose.
Yeah.
But
I
I'm
sit
just
there sad and moping. And,
yeah, and I'm like, oh, this is so lame.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of a man gets
Fucking
ill?
bully yourself.
Yeah, what kind of a man gets ill? And then I had to call my GP. This is the thing that was most emasculating. Is I've got one of those GPs where you got to call them at 8 a.m. to get an appointment.
Yeah. I think I thought that was
that
everywhere,
lottery.
yeah.
Thing, right?
It is a fucking lottery, though.
It is complete. And they said,
he doesn't sound like someone that has to call his GP at 8 a.m, does he?
No.
Sound like you have to
Sounds
knock around
like
next
someone
door.
who
be
has
fair,
a GP that calls him. Just like, are you okay?
I could have WhatsApped him, but I didn't. Right? So
Oh, 'cause you related to him.
yeah, basically that's why. But he didn't come to the wedding, so anyway. So I was number 5 in the queue.
Okay.
And immediately I started thinking, there are 4 people ahead of me, and I tried to imagine who they were.
The stories.
Honestly, it made me feel so shit about myself. I was like, there must be like a 72-year-old lone woman who's like got a bit of a bump on her knee or something, and she's number 2 in the queue. And little does she know that me, a sprightly 38-year-old, fully grown man, I'm coughing. That's why I'm calling the GP like a fucking pussy.
Yeah, but fuck her knee. You shouldn't. You know, she's going to be like that. Old people, they're falling apart anyway, mate.
Do you know the reason I'm deaf is because I wouldn't go to the doctors?
Really?
For a year and a half, my ears were bleeding.
You're that solid.
I'd wake up.
Tuck it on the chin.
He ran it off.
Yeah, on the pillow, and pretty much every morning there'd be like some black gunk and some blood.
And you just...
And I was like, do you know what? This will clear out. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'll drink some water.
Yeah.
I'm the exact opposite, you know. The slightest thing, and I panic. I convinced myself I was getting carbon monoxide poisoning yesterday.
How?
The alarm went off, to be fair. The carbon monoxide alarm went off.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's
That's a good
how
thing.
you
Usually a
convinced
telltale
yourself.
sign,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah. But...
I've convinced myself it's raining. Why? There's
What?
loads of it coming from the sky. Like, what are you talking about?
Well, it didn't go off for long, so I start looking at the instructions, because when the fuck does that ever happen? And it was saying stuff like, you know, don't ignore this. It was like big capital letters, don't ignore this.
An alarm goes off, and you find the... First of all, who has the instructions nearby?
Oh, I googled the brand.
Oh,
I got
okay,
the
you
manual.
Googled
it. Of course
got
you
the
did.
PDF.
So when there's an emergency, you're like, let me get on Google and see what the real situation is.
Because when there's an emergency, I also want to know, do I have to deal with it? Do similar to you leaving the ears, I was just like, I can't really be bothered calling the national board.
going for
Whatever
wedding
it is
pictures
to
at the
sort it
moment.
out.
Would you do that for every emergency, though? Like, your house is on fire and you're just at the bottom. Oh, don't worry, babe, I'll fix this. Ricky, how?
How fireproof are these doors?
Well, if there's smoke alarms going off and there's no visible smoke, I'm not panicking, all right? But if it's quite clear that there's an issue, like if the carbon monoxide alarm goes off and everyone said, "Oh, I feel quite faint," or everyone had reported in the house that they were feeling a bit ill, then it'd be suspicious. But everyone was
suspicious.
I love, by the way,
my mum's just died.
Can we just appreciate the official language of him saying if people in the house reported that they were feeling
the family WhatsApp group?
Yeah. Dear all.
Best regards,
Excel
Mum.
spreadsheet.
Report to me and tell me what's going on.
And you've got your little high vis for the house.
I've got the PDF.
You're the marshal. Yeah, you're the carbon monoxide poisoning marshal. I love that.
Well, I've also as well got in the back, like the same thing happened at me mum's house. Like last Boxing Day, I got a phone call off me mum panicking because theirs went off. We got the guy out and literally laughed at her because it was a fault with the alarm and she didn't even have a fire on. And he was like, "You've got to be burning fuel for carbon monoxide poisoning to happen. You've got nothing on. There's no issue." So I didn't want to have
Laughter is a bold move,
He pretty much was like, you could tell we'd ruined his Boxing Day. Do you know what I mean? He made it very clear. Yeah. I mean, it ruined mine as well. Do you know what I mean? I had to go over to the Whittle, fucking be a good son. Can't be arsed with that, but I did it.
Sort of like when you're like driving along though and someone's in traffic and the traffic's outrageous and like for the first sort of 10 minutes a fucking siren will go past and you're like, "Oh, fucking I hope they're all right." 20 minutes passes, you're like, "Ah, fucking hell, it's better be something serious."
Yeah.
30 minutes passes, you're like, "I hope they're dead."
Yeah.
That's him on Boxing Day. You got a phone call, he's like, "This better be, she better be nearly dead."
Yeah, so I didn't want to do that again.
The thing is that it's so interesting you mention that because I've been thinking about the human condition in this, like around this kind of thing, about the expectations we have, really unrealistic expectations that we have from other things when they occur. Yeah. So when I went to Edinburgh, every year when I go to the Fringe, I go to the circus.
Really?
Did you go this year?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What day?
Is it just a particularly
we
good
hung
circus?
Out like every day in Edinburgh, but I didn't go to
There was an afternoon that I went to the circus, the Ethiopian one, Abyssinia.
The Ethiopian circus?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
It's called Abyssinia, right?
Yeah, I would have gone with you.
Like somersaults and that?
Huh?
Do you do all somersaults?
Yeah, they do somersaults and like really crazy physical feats.
Yeah.
Right? And I notice this every time I go to the circus, and it's not like I go to ones where they're like proper athletes, these people. Right? What it takes for an audience to start applauding them is ridiculous, right? Because if I see a man do a handstand, I'm like, "Fuck me, that is impressive."
Incredible, yeah.
Because I can't. But not only does this man have to do a handstand, at one point he has to do a spinny on his index finger, whilst also juggling things with his feet, and everyone's like, "Yeah, okay, that deserves a applause."
Yeah.
And you're like, none of you cunts can do this. Why do we have such crazy
That's going to be us tonight on stage. Like, hang on, that was a shit one-liner, but it existed.
Yeah. I know, do you know what I mean? It's insane.
It's such a good point as well. And if he did just do the handstand and nothing else, people would probably want the money back as well.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And you're like, there was these two girls, and what they did is they kind of literally bent over backwards.
Nice.
To create like an M shape. And in tandem, they were just circling the arena. And then another woman gets on and stands on their hips. Right? Just standing on the women's hips. And then like she's twirling batons while standing on these two girls' hip bones. Everyone's watching. I'm the only one clapping. I'm the only one going, "This is undeniably impressive."
But do you think there's like an element of kind of like, because when you were describing that to me and I was trying to picture it, half like repulsion as well, kind of like, ugh. Like, how are they doing that?
Well, yeah, but okay, fine. But I think when they're doing like a 4 or 5 minute bit,
Yeah.
after the first minute where you go, bleh, the next 4 you can be
applause.
like, "Come on, this is fucking amazing."
Yeah.
But it's just that expert. It's similar like when you see an accident or something.
Yeah. I'll
Like
tell you
you
exactly what it is. Sorry, I interrupted you there.
No, go on.
I was going to say, I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's the fact they've seen it before. So you remember back in the day, Britain's Got Talent, Paul Potts, Connie Talbot, all those people. Just fucking opera singers, no one was really asked about them. But everyone thought it was incredible. Diversity, they came along. Oh my God,
Dance
amazing.
first time, yeah.
Next year, if you're not better than diversity, we're not fucking bothered. But you can't really be better than diversity. There's only really one way to do street dancing.
Yeah,
there's
you can't be better
97
than
of you.
diversity,
You're
baby.
all in unison.
Can't get better than diversity.
Andy's disabled. I'll tell you exactly what it is. He saw that gunk on his pillow and was like, I'm not getting any paid work. It's not enough to be brown.
Yeah, it's not enough anymore.
But they saw diversity, and then you can't really top it because it's just there's 20 people dancing. They're all in unison. Next year, we've got 22, but we're not really asked. We've seen it before, and that's all it is. When you've been at a show for an hour, this is no longer impressive because you're like, yeah, of course they can do it because they've been doing it. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
It's the same with like online content and things like that. People they're so dismissive of it now when they see it. Joe, if it's not amazing, they're fuming. Because they've got access to so much other stuff. So you've got to really go above and beyond to impress people these days. My fucking wall tiles aren't cutting it, clearly. You know what I mean? But you've really got to go to an extra effort.
Please don't.
It's just my ACD. I like pushing things in.
Yeah. I genuinely can't stop doing it.
That came out wrong.
Yeah.
Keep it in. Do you think you're more sensitive to this, the way an audience acts because you're a performer? Because I've thought this before, like, it's not quite the circus, but I was getting a massage, and I was thinking...
and there was a woman walking on my hip bones.
No, I was thinking, like...
She did it on her back, weird.
Does she think she's bombing this gig because I'm not making noises, or is it weird if I start going, you know, like, audibly enjoying it?
Start clapping.
Yeah.
I think there's an element of that, but also, I've always been one of those people that appreciates any... You might describe it as minor, any kind of minor talent. I remember as a kid, I used to get, well, what I was going to say was overwhelmed by stairs, but what I don't mean is like walking.
I still get that.
Although that does happen. Yeah. But I used to find it amazing that human beings could think of stairs.
Yeah, no.
I'd see a spiral staircase and go, someone had the brain to think, I want to get up that, and I can do it this way.
Yeah.
So I'd get really impressed by very basic things.
Yeah, and a lot of my friends to interrupt you. Do you know why they were first made, spiral staircases?
I can see a joke coming on.
No, they're genuinely not. I saw this on Twitter, so it must be true. But no, it was like made in like sort of really early times, and obviously, John, when you'd be fighting gladiators,
really early times.
Really, I don't
date that.
I don't want to put a timestamp on it.
Jesus was born in the really early times.
Welcome to History with Aaron Wood.
If I put a timestamp on it, it's wrong, though. You'll get knobheads in the comments like, oh, actually, it was 18 BC. Yeah. I don't know what it was, but back in the day when it was gladiators and stuff like that, they would build spiral staircases because you could fight. People couldn't fight going up them, essentially. So you'd run up your stairs to get away from somebody. They couldn't fight going up because you had to be careful of all the stairs, but you would have more headroom on them and you would be able to fight going backwards.
I thought it was just to get apples to the second floor.
That makes more sense to me.
You would say that.
If that's early times, what's ancient times? How would you describe it?
Bit earlier than that.
Before they had stairs.
Early times is like the 90s.
I love that, the early times. I
get what you're saying, though, like, sort of basic engineering, it is impressive, like, when you think historically, like, my head falls off about the Mersey Tunnel, of all things. Joe, the idea of building a tunnel under the ground, under the water.
I know.
And how that was accomplished then. I still don't get it.
And did you know...
I still don't get how you do it now.
The guy who came up with it, Isambard Kingdom Brunel, whatever the fuck his name is... They still use the same tunneling technology now.
Really, yeah.
The thing that he came up with, they still use it now.
To this day.
Mad.
Yeah, it makes my head fall off, big buildings and that.
But how do you stop the water coming in?
Yeah.
Because, like,
I know,
it's water. There's a whole fucking river.
How much weed did you smoke before you got here?
I think like
how does like the sea know when to stop? You know what I mean? It's like
but it's true. Who's holding up the river while you're building a tunnel?
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't understand it.
The shower's leaking.
Did they have scuba gear then? Was that a thing? Or did they just have like big long tubes and that?
I don't know. I really want to Google it now, though. After this, we're going to Google it.
Yeah,
I'm feeling like it was maybe sort of like they had some like a big fucking wall, and they've sort of put it in. They just dropped it in, and then they've done another one, and then they've sucked all the air out the middle.
Three comedians try and figure out engineering from the 40s.
That's mad.
It's like every Joe Rogan episode.
So like right now, I live in London. They've just built the Crossrail, which goes across London. London's already an established city.
Yeah.
But somehow they managed to build this quite incredible service underground, joining old lines to new lines and built new stations. And I'm there going, how?
Yeah.
Like, I lived in London and they just dug through.
Underneath,
and Lord knows the things they found. Yeah. But they still built it as fucking anyway.
But no, but you don't know how that was done, so it seems that impressive. But I can guarantee that at least 5 of the people involved in that were dumb as fuck.
Yeah.
Were dumb as fuck.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, there was one that was involved in taking the reports.
People just blag knowing stuff, don't they? Do you know what I mean? Like I've been to a GP before with a lump on my testicles. She didn't even want to look at them. Can't say I blame her. And she was just fucking googling stuff and went, "Yeah, here's more antibiotics." Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's. But I don't think you can blag building a railway under a.
I think you can.
You reckon?
Well, it's not just one person, is it? There's people on the job.
Let that be the mission for 2023. I want you to blag your way into building another tunnel through the Mersey.
Done. Job done.
No.
I couldn't even help Aaron build this studio.
Yeah. He didn't help with this, let alone he's not building a tunnel.
I wish I had a counter argument. It's factually correct.
Notice how he stayed quiet when you mentioned these.
Yeah.
These
No, I stayed quiet because I wanted to know how you put them up.
You did a very good job.
You did Live at the Apollo.
Big things.
I did do
Very
that.
fucking exciting. Very exciting. Has anything changed for you? I mean, you're in Stockport now. How the mighty fucking fallen.
In a bedroom with
In a bedroom.
I mean, the best kind of leveler in comedy for me was I did Live at the Apollo, and the very next day, you gave it away. The very next day, I did a gig in St Albans in a cinema room, which held 30, but 4 people turned up.
Yeah.
So I went from doing...
Hey, they were there for you, though.
Yeah. Right? So I was there, having just done the House with Apollo, and by all accounts, and it might sound arrogant, whatever, it couldn't have gone any better. Yeah. Like, I absolutely destroyed that room. So I was delighted. I was, flying cloud9. And went to St Albans to 4 people. And you're like, this is what's great about comedy.
Yeah, you need that.
It's the thief of joy.
No, but I think it's good. It keeps you level. It stops you getting complacent, and it's like reminds you you're a piece of shit still.
I know, and I think music doesn't really have that. I think if you're a musician who's played the Apollo or something equivalent, I don't think you would end up doing another gig to 4 people.
Yeah,
I just don't think it. So comedy is a great lever in that sense. But anyway, yes, I did Live at the Apollo. It aired a couple of weeks ago.
It was great.
Thank you very much.
Speaking of applause after every mediocre bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they love it. They love a mediocre bit. I gave them the mediocre bits. But on the night as well, it went on to about... You're meant to do 20, and I did about 26 minutes, simply because they were applauding. And the commissioner said, you've just got to make sure you do all the material that we've agreed.
Okay, so you had to stay on. Okay.
Yeah, it's brutal if you booked for 20.
You get
do all of that
light.
stuff, and then you get to 12 minutes and you've finished all the material.
Do they have
big
a
light going on? No, they've got a little clock at the corner.
Okay. Oh, so you can just keep an eye on
it. Do they clap for everything? Do you know what I mean? I've heard like some of the horror stories in that, like some people have died on Live at the Apollo. Not died, but like died. Do you know what I mean? Had a shit gig and it's just not gone well. But it's like an air of like when you're up there, like I cannot fuck this up. This can't go wrong because they know what they're here for. They know it's a special taping. Like, did you feel like comfortable in knowing that you were just going to smash it and that was it?
Well, not really. I mean, they're a comedy audience because they're all free tickets through this SRO thing or whatever. So they want to have a good time. The acts before, they weren't getting the applause in the same way, right? And I think they're quite discerning in that sense because it was a Christmas episode. They get like a warm up guy and there was a real good vibe before the show started.
Was it Christmas?
It was a Christmas special. Yeah. And there was a really good vibe and everyone's having a great time. But what I will say is, you can do, if you do an 8 out of 10 joke, they probably will applaud.
Right. So it doesn't have to be an absolute roof for the...
No.
Right.
But you can do an 8 out of 10 joke and they probably will applaud because they're just so happy to be seeing what they would deem as good comedy.
Yeah.
After you get a couple of 8s in, at that point, from my experience, pretty much everything I was saying was, this guy's great.
Yeah.
8, 9, whatever it might be. So I was very lucky with the response I got. Very happy with I say luck. You make your own luck.
I was going to say, it's not luck, is it?
But the commissioner was happy, and I think the edit came out really well, and I've had lots of nice comments.
The commissioner. I'm just imagining a guy in a trench coat with a pipe.
Yeah. Well done, Ken. Don't
even get me started on the fat controller. He was thrilled. He was absolutely thrilled.
What I was happy about was, obviously I checked Twitter to see what people were saying.
Did you get much hate?
No, I thought there'd be a lot of like, woke bullshit.
Why didn't you get much hate?
That's what I meant.
Why? I saw it. Why?
Why did you think you would is what I meant. I didn't know.
Because anything to do with TV, anything to do with comedy on the BBC, there's a real suite of people who are very anti-BBC or
Angry.
anti-comedy on the
Angry.
BBC. You know, it's just woke bollocks, blah, 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 blah. Me being brown, that can be an issue for a lot of people. That I'm even on their screens in the first place and I've only got there because of diversity. Well, fuck you, shame.
That's the only reason he's here.
Yeah, exactly. And I still pay my mortgage out of it, so it's all right.
Out of this?
Yeah, this.
Did we agree a fee?
Yeah. And so...
I'm going to take that off the wall. You've ruined my fucking self-esteem. I'm getting no more nails tomorrow. That's coming off and getting re-stuck down. I'm fuming.
But hate on Twitter, I mean, Twitter's just a cesspool, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it really
But
is.
particularly with TV comedy, any TV comedy I've done, there's always been people who have had something to say. Although I will say, touchwood, I'd say relatively speaking, I don't get as much hate as I feel like I deserve.
Well, that says a lot about yourself, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
it says a lot about
yourself,
your opinion of yourself.
Yeah. You expect it?
No, because my opinion of myself is incredibly high. I know. I'm incredibly irritatingly fun dude.
No, but you must have some sort of perception where you think that people will not like you.
No, it's not that they won't like me. It's because they find me irritating. I'm overweight, but I'm super confident. I'm quite handsome. I'm very good at this job. I'm having a really nice time. I'm really fun. See, shit like this should have people fucking hate me.
I hate them now.
They don't.
I mean, you're saying all this, but what did I say to you before? Like, because we went to get some food, we were feeling a bit tired, we had to do a lot of work in here, obviously we've already done an episode today. We were just feeling a bit tired, and I said to Liam, when Eshaan gets here, it'll be fine. And he said, why? And I said, it'll just be vibes.
Yeah,
it's just vibes, isn't it?
Easy to be around.
Just non-stop vibes. So
Usually bad ones, but you know.
Yeah, either way, they're still sometimes kind of vibes, aren't they? But yeah, it's not so much, oh, I'm a terrible person, that's why people hate me. I can understand why people would find me annoying, particularly if you're...
Jealousy, do you think? Yeah.
I wouldn't call it jealousy. I wouldn't call it... I wouldn't go so far as to say it's jealousy. It is this thing of people are meant to stay in their lane.
Yep.
Right? And the world tells you you're meant to... If you're this... You're saying, like, today I did a joke. Greta Thunberg had a go at Andrew Tate.
Oh, I actually was reading that
Class.
as you were on the way.
That's the charity boxing fight we need to see in it.
Yeah, that would be fucking awesome.
I'd watch her kick his head in.
Yeah.
I don't think she would. He's a fucking boxer, isn't he?
She looks savage. No, oh yeah, he is actually.
Yeah,
I bet the wrong goal.
I'm putting my money on Andrew Tate. To be honest,
Yeah, bet the house.
as much as I support women, I'm putting my money on Andrew Tate. But she said something like, "Oh, small dick energy at getalife.com," something like that to him. So I tweeted to say, as someone with a small dick, I actually think this is quite offensive.
Yeah.
Now, men aren't supposed to celebrate the fact they've got a small dick. I'm happy to say, I'm a grower.
Not a shower.
No, absolutely not. When you see my dick, when there's no action, you're like, that is a button.
It's pathetic.
Yeah, I've said this about me.
I'm right
I
there
relate,
with
man.
you, man.
Yeah.
But like, it's weird. Like, my dick's all right. But just for comedic effects, I'll say that it's tiny.
Tiny,
Do you know what I
right,
mean?
yeah.
Like, I go on stage and I'm like, oh, my dick's fucking well small. So it's actually pretty decent. You know what I mean?
Decent,
guys?
I'm doing all right, yeah.
But it's all right. Do you know what I mean? I'm happy with it. But like, I'll go on stage and just be like, oh, it's tiny. My balls are bigger than my dick. Haha. Like,
No, that's my truth though. I have like no dick. I have no dick on flop. But then I think where you were going with, when time comes, it's like, where'd all that dick come from? And it's not loads,
No.
but it's a dramatic.
Honestly.
It's dramatic difference.
Pretty much every partner I've had, they have said, fuck me, you're a dark horse.
quite literally.
Yeah, quite literally.
dark horse.
There's a lot going on. There's quite a few layers to that bit, that compliment.
Yeah.
So like, it comes out of nowhere, doesn't it? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It's just hidden behind all this.
You act just as impressed with them.
I'm like, look at that.
Like, comes out of nowhere. She meant almost immediately comes out of nowhere.
Bit of a left turn. Have you ever taken Viagra? Because I
Yes.
bought some and got too scared to take
I
it.
would like to. Talk me through your
I
experience.
bought some.
would
I
like
lied.
to.
I went on 4 hymns, said I had erectile dysfunction. I don't. And I got some for 24 quid.
Get your 4 hymns using the code spread negativity 10.
That would be. I would honestly, because some podcasts have like Blue Chew sponsored, and that's the cool version, isn't it? Get a little Blue Chew.
Yeah.
Like Flagrant are sponsored by them. That's amazing, good for them. But I want the medical.
I keep getting
aesthetic,
emails
tragic
about
one.
like male pattern baldness now because of that.
You want Boots' own brand Viagra.
Well, that's what you have a choice. They let you choose like branded Viagra or non-branded, and I just thought I want to give it a go. But then when it came, I was so relaxed about
Sorry,
it all.
what came?
The Viagra came in the post, not me. So, all right, okay. Give me a minute. I'm in this. I just want wisdom. You said you've had. I started reading more about it when it came, and then I started panicking that my dick was going to fall off, that I was going to lose also. Because it was basically saying if you don't have issues with erections, which I don't take it at all. Like, it's not worth it.
Nah, that's not true. Like, I've taken it twice.
Okay.
And the only time I've taken it is when I'm, like, really drunk.
That does not seem medically safe.
It worked a charm.
What was it needed, though? Because you were really drunk. Are you Brewer's Droop? Is that like a thing for you?
When you say drunk, were you just drunk?
No, I was really drunk.
But were you just drunk?
He works for the BBC, lad. Shut up.
Right, yeah, fair.
Doesn't know.
Okay. Sorry. Took me a while to get that.
But were you?
Yes.
Okay. That took so long for no reason.
Good payoff, though.
Yeah.
Everyone's having a laugh.
Yeah, fun.
That's what we want on the pod. Have a laugh.
But it was great. It was worthwhile.
Yeah, it was absolutely worth it.
Are you at like full power? Like 100%? Like...
Yeah, but it doesn't change your sensitivity.
This is even my final form.
Well, that's what I mean. I feel like that about my dick in general.
I think people think that, you just end up lasting longer. No, your sensitivity...
More powerful.
Yeah, it gets harder at a time when you're not really prepared to get hard, basically.
My biggest fear is taking it and then she's got a headache. You know what I mean? Like,
and you're just left with the...
You take it out of her mouth and just...
You are? Say again? Cut that.
I should take it out of her mouth at that point then, surely.
Anyway, yeah, just the idea of her like being like, I'm not in the mood. I'm up early.
Yeah, but
you're
surely
like,
there's an
now
agreement.
what?
I'm taking this pill. Just
yeah, because the other thing, there's like a 15-minute to half-hour window.
Oh, really?
For when it starts kicking in.
Okay.
So you've got to be like...
In 30 minutes, it's go time.
It's go time. Yeah. So there is a risk that she might be like, actually, I'm not into it.
Yeah.
Can I just watch another episode of whatever the fuck she's watching?
Yeah.
Because there's levels to a dick, isn't there? There's levels to it.
Yeah. Eshaan's the final boss of dick.
Well, that's like just prior to blowing load, your dick is at like full power, full throttle. Mine is anyway. It's like the Hulk. The angrier Hulk gets, the stronger Hulk gets. I'm like the biggest I'll ever be at that moment. I wanna capture that moment and harness that strength. But I'm just scared it'll like too much blood. It'll cut off circulation. It's put me off.
No, you'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah, I'll do it next episode.
This table is just off the fucking
See
wall.
what happens.
Bodies are amazing. Like they find a way to like make it just about
right.
work. Yeah. Although I reckon you'll end up become the first person who dies of a heart attack because of fucking Viagra.
There's priapism as well. You ever heard of that?
God damn you!
Comes back to haunt you. Every time you have sex, you're like, I feel like there's a weird spirit.
Yeah.
No, but have you never heard of priapism?
Priapism.
Priapism, it's when you have that erection that you get from Viagra, but it does not go down and it starts becoming a risk, and they have to bloodlet your dick with needles. Do you know, like acupuncture?
How often does that happen?
I don't know, but it scared me, and it's a thing. I've seen it. I've seen pictures.
Are you a bit of a hypochondriac?
Like the carbon monoxide thing before. I'm not in general, but if I start feeling a certain way, then I'll get in my head about it. So, like, because of the alarm going off, and we put a different alarm in the room, and it didn't go off again, and everything was fine, but I've got it in my head, and I start thinking, well, I do feel a bit sick. I have got a bit of a headache.
Yeah,
but I just ate a lot of wine.
Of it, yeah, I do that.
I just ate a lot of cheese and drank a lot of wine.
If I eat a bit of food
Christmas.
where, like, okay, I've had this chicken, and it's like, so, perfect example, went out last week with one of my pals, had a bit of food. Chicken was really, it was dead chewy, just cartilagey bit, I guess.
Right.
But, like, I spit it out, I was like, this is fucked. Like, this tastes like it's not done. Do you know what I mean? The way I'm chewing this, it feels like it's completely raw. Yeah. I had a look at it, it was all white, but it didn't stop me getting in my head. And then, like, an hour later, the food was repeating on me, and I was like, I'm going to vomit here. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've got food poisoning.
It's good to be suspicious of something that's all white, to be fair.
No comment?
No.
Do you not get like that? Do you not get like, well, I mean, you weren't asked.
What, suspicious of white people? Yeah. Genuinely, when we booked him for this, I gave him the postcode, and he goes, I'll be there at 5 p.m. tomorrow at the dodgiest looking place ever. And I was like, it's literally my family home. And he was like, yeah, I said what I said.
It's factually correct. No,
yeah, it's a hellhole. Yeah.
Do you not get like any sort of health anxiety, or are you just always like glass half full about it? Like, oh, it'll be fine.
No, on the whole, I don't really. Although in the last couple of years, like, I dream about being in enclosed spaces.
Really?
and like feeling a bit anxious about that. So like sometimes I'll be just suddenly my mind will transport. Even actually, sometimes I'll daydream about it of like being stuck on the tube, with like loads of people on the carriage, and the tube is stuck in the middle of a carriage, and I'm just there like losing my shit. But
he'd start telling jokes. Him, who owns a crowd?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that's the only thing. But other than that, I don't really get anxious about anything. Much to my family's frustration, actually, because I leave everything very, very late. Like when I was ill, my dad was like, "You need to call the GP." I said, "I'll call it when I'm better."
Yeah.
That's not how it works.
Yeah. But I know I get that. I have all the worry and the anxiety, but none of the drive to do anything about it. Right. So I just live in that anxiety. I try my best, like now, to try and overcome it and stuff, but it's fucking hard, man, when you're in the middle of it.
Yeah.
I just need to grow up.
Yeah, I get a lot of anxiety over just stupid. Like you say, convincing yourself of a situation that's worse than it is. Like I get it with like in social scenarios. I spoke to you about this quite a lot in Edinburgh, I think, actually. Obviously me and you have spoke very in depth about it. But just like in social circles, I'll just be convinced that somebody hates me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And thankfully, it's often true. So at least I'm right.
Where does that come from? Do you think?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Were you like unpopular at school or something?
Yeah. But we moved around a lot. Like I've said this before. I've been to 19 schools growing up.
That's heavy, that, isn't it? That's
a lot of schools.
Yeah.
I didn't know we had that many schools in the country. I went to private school.
You got one private school, mate. There's a comprehensive on every street. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, I went to so many schools, so I was always a new kid. And what comes with that is you're just unpopular. And then I became very angry because of it. Do you know what I mean? And I wasn't really kicked out of schools. There was one or two where it just didn't work out. But primarily we moved around because my mum's ill.
Right.
So mum used to say when we moved around to all these different places to be nearer to hospitals a lot of the time. And then sometimes you're just renting a house and the landlord just fucking fucks you off. You know, he wants the house back, he wants to sell it. And then the only house you can find at short notice on a month is 30 miles away.
Right, yeah.
So now you're like, okay, well, then we need to change schools. So just a lot of that over the years. And yeah, it just made me very bitter and very angry at the fact that every time I went to a new school, I was always the outcast. You know what I mean? So then when I would go to a new school, I wouldn't necessarily be the outcast, but I'd make it that way myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just by design, I guess.
At least you were in control of it that way. Maybe you felt like you were in control.
Yeah, I was never.
You chose to be a cunt.
But yeah, I get anxiety with that a lot. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm just, like you say, just convinced that someone's fuming at you or has an issue with you over something. And a lot of it's just like it's arrogance, desire, like how do you put this?
It's arrogant to think that they're thinking of you.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, it's insecurities, but it's fueled by arrogance, isn't it?
Yeah. I have the opposite thing because I'm like, I assume everyone loves me. And then when they do hate me, I'm like, oh, that's quite nice.
That's refreshing.
Like refreshing from change of events for me.
Cool. I'm literally the opposite. Everyone hates me. Oh, you like me? Oh, this guy's sound.
Yeah.
I did actually witness someone hating Aaron just before the record.
Oh my God.
For what?
Talking about Stockport.
We went for dinner. Yeah, fuck me.
Outrageous, man. We just went for a bit of food, pulled up in a car park, and hand on heart, you can back me up. I'm really bad with road rage, but I wasn't bothered in this moment. We had loads of time. I wasn't in a rush or anything. We pulled up into the car park, and then I've made a turn in, and as I've turned, there's just somebody there. And I've gone, oh, fucking hell. I've just
so we just sort of stopped a bit. No facial change. No fucking hell. We were just talking.
Yeah. We were just chatting. Everything was absolutely fine. I thought, I'll just get in a different space. I'll just move out of her way, get in a different space. As we sort of passed her, there's a guy leaning over her side of the fucking car, and he's like screaming at us.
Yeah, like looking at Aaron.
Genuinely
side on,
screaming.
Like, like as if he'd said something, and it was insane.
And I was genuinely like, what? Like you said it perfectly. Like if he came, because we thought like he's going to come over here. He's obviously parking up. He's going to come over when we get out of the car as well. Yeah. Thankfully he didn't. Well, I say thankfully. I don't know what he'd have done. There's fucking two of us and he's solid. You know what I mean? You're solid, aren't you?
Spark him clean.
But Liam said like if he comes over, all you've got to do is say, what do you think happened?
Yeah, don't be aggressive. Don't kick off back.
He was so angry.
Don't respond to it or get defensive or go, I didn't say anything, because then you look. Just say, what do you think happened there? Explain it to me.
Because I genuinely, like I say, no facial change, and I get a lot of road rage. Not in that moment. Wasn't bothered. I was just like, oh fucking hell, she's there, and I've just moved out of her way, and I've carried on driving. And he was fuming. It made me feel bad for her. Do you ever like the Ronnie Pickering video?
You never see
it.
And it's him going insane, but his missus just sat there like perfectly stone-faced, like if I say anything, he'll flip his lid. It felt like that because she wasn't even looking at me. She was just looking straight ahead, and he was screaming. It's like he's so angry about nothing.
Yeah.
So what's he like when something happens?
Yeah, I know.
You just got to say. You just got to say, haven't you? Like, what do you think happened there? And then if things go south, I mean, I'm not from here, I'd turn up the fake. I don't really have a Scouse accent. I'll turn it up. Add a few K's onto words. Go, do you fucking know who you're talking to? Who the fuck do you think you are, you cunt? Like, it just
Imagine though he just sparked you and was like, I can tell you're a wool. I can tell you're from over the water.
I can take a dig. I think it's been a while. Actually, you hit me on the arm before, messing about when it hurt, so probably wasn't the best. I
He actually Googled it afterwards.
I think I've got something now.
Yeah.
Fucking one more question about, bit of a left turn, one more question about Live at the Apollo. One thing I'm interested about is, obviously, as a comedian, that's like a massive, massive milestone, isn't it? It's something that you think, like, I would love to do that. And so, obviously, there must be some expectation of the experience. You know, we were talking before about expectation and everything. Did it live up to what the idea of that moment might be in your head? Or was it just another gig?
It's a good question. I'll be honest, it was just another gig.
Jonathan Ross over here.
Yeah, no,
I'm just that interested in
it. To be honest, it was just another gig. I think I've been a comic 8 years, and in that time I've been very lucky that I've opened for comedians in front of very big audiences.
Yeah.
So Jason Manford, Mickey Flanagan, they're paying to 3,500-4,000 people at a time.
Sometimes arenas.
Sometimes
Have you done it in arenas before?
I've not done an
Manford
arena for them, but with Mickey that might change in the new year.
Yeah.
So I think it helps when you're used to playing big rooms like that, so it's less intimidating.
Well, you used to play to 5,000 at a family party, you know?
Well, exactly, on a Tuesday. And then the only bit of it that was a bit like, oh, this is exciting, is when you're standing behind the Live at the Apollo
garage
sign.
door.
And you see what's going on. Oh, you're ready to go out?
Yeah, ready to go on.
Yeah.
That bit is you're like, oh, this feels like a moment. But I've always, and hopefully Aaron will attest to this because we've spoken a lot, I've always been quite a level-headed dude about stuff like this. Live at the Apollo, of course, is an amazing milestone, and there's loads of comics who I'm sure would absolutely love to do it. But I'm also aware that Live at the Apollo isn't quite what it used to be anymore.
Yep.
And, you know...
anyone on it these days.
Yeah, exactly. I've anyone on it these days. And, you know, I'm grateful to have done it and ticked it off, but it felt like the beginning. Do you know what I mean? It didn't feel like, oh, I've reached the pinnacle of my career now.
Yeah.
It felt like, oh, this is another step on that mountain, and actually this is the start of the other stuff.
Yeah.
I'm actually more excited about fucking playing to 80 people at the Met in Bury on my tour.
Because it's your tour.
Because it's my tour.
It's yours, yeah.
You know? And so...
is this your first tour?
Yeah, my first
See
tour.
that cheeky little plug there, by the way.
Oh, good. That's what he's here for. But how's that feel then? Like the prep... What's the tour prep situation like? Do you feel ready for it? Is the show like ready?
I don't think the show's completely ready. I'm still in two minds about what to do on the show because my agent and other peers and more experienced comics have all said to me, do your best old stuff. Even if you've been on telly with it, you do all your old stuff because when you're touring to a new audience. Some of them will have seen you on telly, might have seen you on a podcast, but there'll be people who they just go to the theatre at the weekend.
Okay.
Right. So it's important that you have your bangers, all of them, your best of, that's what you do. Everyone is giving me this advice. I'm resolutely saying no.
Well, it feel so. It kind of feels soulless, the thought of that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You feel that way with old stuff to a certain when you get to
I like my old stuff because it's funny.
Yeah.
And I like saying it. And I enjoy it.
Do you not get like? Do you not sometimes like have a banger of a gig, but if it's old stuff and do you not like feel dead inside? No, that's just me then.
But then I do mix it up.
Yeah, but the difference between your old stuff and his old stuff is, you know, his isn't 5 years old. Like when he says it, it's like his old stuff is still only 6 months old, but it's still old stuff. Like,
stuff, yeah.
My
we're
old stuff
coming
is
up
not
with, like,
5 years old.
Yeah.
It's 2 years.
6.
So I'm still trying to work that bit out. But other than that, you know, every time I get a sales report every week, and you know, there's 155 new sales or 200 new sales, I'm just there going,
fuck me.
Who? Why? How? You know, what's going on?
Well, did you have an uptick when Live at the Apollo aired? Because I looked at it, obviously I'm opening for you in Stockton, and the Lowry, very excited about that. But
Sold out, by the way?
Yeah, well, that's my point. That's why I bring it up. I looked to see how it had sold, see how many people were going to be there and stuff. And yeah, I saw it was sold out, but that wasn't the case when you first booked me for it. Obviously, that was fucking months ago. So, but was there an uptick after Live at the Apollo aired?
I don't know yet. We've not seen the data. I don't know. We'll see.
You'll get an uptick off this, you know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
Off your fans who tune in because they've seen you on this.
Yeah, so I'll get an uptick from this.
We're selling your tickets here, lad.
Yeah, I know. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I hope there's a few of you in Winchester, because...
if you do one Australian date, we can guarantee Olivia will be there.
Winchester needs to come out more, man. Come on, bro. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I think also it's a weird thing, right? Because with Christmas and Apollo airing at Christmas, I don't think people watch things live anymore anyway.
Yeah.
I think there might be some uptick from Apollo. The industry's changed so much that I'm not entirely convinced that it will.
Yeah.
But then with Christmas happening, the cost of living crisis being the way it is, anybody that buys a ticket to see me, for me, is like a source of great, humility. It makes me feel really humble. And I still feel a bit weird about it, that people are spending money to come and see me, and I'm happy that they're doing it. But given how things have been over the last few months, I've just been a bit like, not nervous, I don't really know what the word is, just a bit reticent about the fact that...
Well, it's your first tour, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a testament to your character as well, that.
It's like, if you go and do a gig at the Glee,
and
you're just on, and they don't really warm to you, it is what it is, because it'll be another one next week. But they've come to see you, and if it's not right, then, like you say, you've just got a lot more weight on your shoulders about it,
And I've got lots of weight on my belly as well.
I wouldn't open with that. They will be disappointed.
Lots of weight. I'm trying to do this thing where in every city I collaborate with the local food bank and try and get the people to, whoever comes to watch me, to donate at least one item to the food bank at least.
Such a good person.
While we're there. But because I do feel a bit like, weirdly, I feel weird about it. Like a part of me is just like, oh man, just after Christmas, the tour starts in February. I know what it was like when I was broke. You're waiting for your January pay. February, you're just about settling in, but then that's when your council tax bills come in and everything starts paying again. Yeah. So I've got all this anxiety going on in my head about my own tour, about the people that are coming to watch me.
It's got to be worthwhile.
It's got to be worthwhile.
Yeah,
and so
that's good, though.
It's at the moment. So the short answer to your question, which you asked about 55 minutes ago.
No, it's fine. Enjoy it.
Is that I'm excited about the tour. I don't think it's fully ready yet, but I think a big part of it, part of the reason why it doesn't feel fully ready, is because I feel like I owe the people who are spending money to come see me, I owe them a good time.
I think it would be more of an issue if you didn't feel that way. And if you didn't feel like surprised or anything, it says a lot about you as a person, doesn't it? You said this is your first tour, didn't you? Yeah. It should feel like that. I mean, if you're like, yeah, of course they're buying a ticket, and you're a bit of a dickhead, aren't you?
Yeah.
The food bank thing, man, such a good idea.
Yeah, it came to me because there's so many more food banks.
This is just his way of getting people to bring food to his shows.
Yeah, basically. The food bank is me. You know me.
Yeah, I'll put that in the food bank. Yeah. Tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh, more baked beans.
I told you I didn't like Green Giant.
More baked beans and sardines. Yes, please. Sardines. But yeah, I think it's just like an easy cheat because I'm going to be in all these cities, and unfortunately, every single one of these cities has got a fucking food bank.
Yeah.
And so I thought, if we can email the people who are coming to say, just bring one thing, whatever it is, from your cupboard, pick it up, drop it off, and we can see if we can make a bit of a difference.
Do you do much charity work and stuff?
I do.
He's doing Stockport's fucking...
This is charity.
He's here
right now.
What are you on about? Yeah. There's the humility, because he didn't laugh in your face and go, yes. Yeah.
To be honest, I now feel guilty about mentioning the food bank, I think, because usually all the charity I tend to do, I don't really talk about. The only reason I mention it was because of...
It can make it bigger, though. Look at, Mr. Beast. The only reason it works is because it's talked about.
I don't like leveraging any kind of charity or goodwill for personal gain.
Yeah.
And, this is one of the few remnants from my time of when I used to be a practicing Muslim, where it's very clear about charity, where they say your right hand should know what your left hand is doing. Like, whatever you do quietly, and it's a contract between you and God, and that's it. Okay. Now, I don't practice, but that is one thing that I really value, that if you can, unless it really helps your cause, to publicly talk about the charity that you're doing, I think it's better to just do it quietly. So that's what I'm trying to do. So yes, the answer is yes, I do a lot of charity, but I don't really talk about it.
It's not like you... But that... The reason I ask is because I don't do anything, and I think that's bad too. And I was just, I don't know where I'm going with this or what else I want to say, but I've just basically
I'm sorry, guys.
Eshaan's a great person, and I'm a piece of shit. No, but hearing you talking about it is making me realise that I should though. So you're saying that on the one hand, you don't want to be too vocal about it, but it does put into perspective. Like, well, why aren't I doing anything? Why haven't I given at least a bit to a food bank?
I did the care packages for the homeless last year. Went out on Christmas Eve, raised about.
Where did you deliver them?
Huh?
Where did you deliver them?
The streets.
Okay.
Terrible person. The streets.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I just weighs like 250 quid, and we just made like care kits, like care packages, and they just had scarves, all the obvious stuff. And I said I was going to do it this year, but bigger, and sort of try and leverage it off the podcast and see if we could raise more, maybe 3 times as much, and make it 3 times as big or whatever. And then this happened. And this has been the last 6 weeks of my life, and I just completely forgot about it. And then it got to Christmas Eve, and I went on my memories on Facebook, and I saw that I'd posted to sort of say, thanks to everyone that's donated. Here's where the money's gone.
Yeah.
Have a good Christmas sort of thing. And I was so annoyed that I forgot to do it. And now, obviously, what you're saying, I just know I'm going to do it bigger next year.
Look, lad, at least I owned being a piece of shit. You're like, well, I thought about doing it, but I fucking didn't.
No, that's the point. I didn't think about doing it. I completely forgot about doing it. Like, I didn't think about it at all.
The thing is, life, of course, gets in the way, and we get sometimes in our life we have more money, we have less money, and you can, no matter how little money you have, you're always able to do something, no matter how small it is, you know. And so I've, ever since I was a little kid, I just remembered that something my mum and dad always did was, no matter how poor we were, somehow we were able to do something for somebody else. And it's actually because comedy is such a vacuous job, and you're surrounded by so many egos and so many people.
Kind of self-serving to a degree, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know, I've worked in horrible industries. Banking isn't a particularly nice industry, right? And so comedy, I would say, probably has worse people than people in banking, because in banking they know they're pieces of shit. And they know that that's what their whole existence is money. Whereas in comedy, there's a lot of people who will create an illusion of goodness, but actually it's completely ego-driven and they want fame. Yeah. And so being surrounded by these people, it can be very hard sometimes to feel like the thing that you're doing is worthwhile. You know, I might make someone laugh. I might get a message from someone who says, I've had a really bad day and you made me laugh, and that might make me feel good. But we're on this... I don't know how this became the fucking Dalai Lama podcast, but anyway. But you're on this earth for such a short period of time. The way you make people feel, even if they don't know it's you, that's the thing that stays. You know, when my mum died, the way she made people feel just by feeding them was the thing that everybody talks to me about even now. Yeah. And so I don't know whether there's an afterlife, but fuck me, I would love it. 10 years after my death, people are like, do you know what, that bloke Eshaan really made me feel good about myself, whatever it was.
Yeah, they say that you die twice, don't you? That's quite commonly said. Like, you die when you die, and you die again when the last time someone says your name. I think it was Jimmy Carr that said that about Sean Locke. Right. And he said he's got one of those names now that will live on forever.
Yeah,
like his stuff is out there. YouTube's always going to exist. His stuff is out there. It's loved and adored by everyone, and he'll still be mentioned in 100 years.
Yeah.
And he said that's really important. You have to be the sort of person that people still talk about for good after.
Yeah, that'd be lovely. And, you know, I'd love it if people did, but I just want vibes. I just want people to have a nice time. And if I'm able to, with whatever little I've got, just do something a bit nice for someone else, it makes you feel so much more. Your existence feels so much more worthwhile.
You're making me feel like a piece of shit.
That's on you, though.
I know.
It says a lot about him. You said that, and he went, great.
No, but at the same time, mate, such wise words. I completely agree with everything you're saying, and I don't do anything. I want to change the world. I want the world to be a better place, but I can't be arsed, and I don't do anything.
I agree with you.
You can tell he's got BBC now, can't you?
No, but I agree with you. Changing the world is impossible. Yeah. It is impossible. The world is a fucking shithole, and there are bigger powers at play that us three in this room are never ever going to be able to even touch the sides on. But in your little Asda, an extra tin of beans going into the food bank collection, job done. Makes you feel good. Yeah. You know? And that's, You can have one less tin of beans.
Yeah, of course I can. I mean, I won't be happy about it. I'll do it. The right fucking thing. Called spread negativity. You're preaching all this positivity, which is great, but you're making everyone... No, you haven't, because you're making everyone realise how big pieces of shit they are.
Oh, funny. Should we do some features?
We're kind of like nearly at the hour mark.
Already?
Yeah, so I don't know whether you want to do an off your chest, and then we'll...
Have you got anything you want to get off your chest? We can
the chest infection, yeah. Funny! Just funny! That's the thing.
That's the name of your tour show.
Funny,
just funny. No, nothing else.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing else. Have you got anything you want to get off your chest? We can do that, or we can do features. It's entirely up to you.
Yeah, there is actually something I want to get off my chest.
Sweet, let's do that.
There's a little incident that took place maybe 4 weeks ago.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
She had a nice funeral.
Yeah. Shout out food banks.
Fucking hell. I could be a right bastard. As you know, Avanti West Coast services are hell on earth.
Horrific, yeah.
Jesus.
The worst.
Man's been tweeting today.
It is horrific. Anyway, I was on one of their classic trains, one of the trains that was running, but the two either side of it weren't. So this particular train was rammed. So they declassified this train service.
What does that mean? Sorry.
As in, so there's no first class.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
there's no standard premium. Everyone just sit where you want.
Free for all.
Yeah, reservations don't exist.
Oh yeah, your seat reservation's gone.
Yeah,
everyone
everyone sit where you can, please, because everyone's on the fucking train and people are standing in the toilets or whatever it might be. I managed to have a seat, a decent seat, a standard premium seat, and we get to Rugby. I was travelling from north down to the south, got to Rugby, and this woman gets on at Rugby, whose energy immediately made the whole carriage go, she's a cunt.
That's impressive. That's actually impressive.
It was weird.
You've not met some of the people in my family. Christmas is that energy. Do you know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah. The table is the train carriage, and some people in my family are that lady.
That lady, yeah, fine. So she walks in, and there was this moment where this half of the carriage we all kind of looked at each other being like, something's going to kick off, isn't it? She walks up to this woman who's in her, I'd say, mid to late 30s, who, by the way, had been standing from Glasgow.
Okay.
And we're at a Rugby.
Significant.
So she literally just sat down at Rugby. Woman goes, that's my seat. 30-year-old goes, everyone's standing. There's no reservations. I'm really sorry. I've been standing since Glasgow. We're like,
basically,
suck your mum. Go away from me. This is no longer your seat. I'm sat in it.
Right. So she says, well, I've got a reservation, and everyone's explaining the reservation. Blah blah blah. Then this woman drops, I'm double your age. Show me some respect. So at that point,
God,
she's been checkmated.
Entitlement, mate. I hate it.
For her, she's been checkmated. To me, I'd be like, well, just stand, because you'll be lying forever very soon.
It's a nice train. Do you want to be under it?
You bitch. Fuck you, bitch.
Show you who I am.
Yeah.
I donated to a food bank once.
Yeah. Bitch. Anyway, so at this point, this woman obviously feels super guilty. So he's like, oh, you can't play that fine. So she gets up and the woman sits down. The whole carriage is fucking fuming on behalf of the state.
Yeah.
Then the gods intervened.
Yes.
Because coming up next to me was this woman who was easily 167 years old.
Top trumps.
I'm double your age. Get up.
With a walking stick. Proper struggling to get down this carriage. Initially, I offered her my seat, but she wanted the one towards the end because there was more space.
Easier to get out. Oh, more space.
And it just came to me. I was like, I'm going to be the sassiest motherfucker on the planet. I got up, walked up to this woman who just sat down, this 60-year-old woman. By the way, there's someone who's double your age.
Brilliant.
Yes. Are you going to give up your seat? And she goes, what? And I said, there's someone double your age. Are you going to show her some respect and give up your seat? She goes, no, this is my seat reservation. And the woman comes over, really old, and this woman looks at her. The old woman looks at her, and the whole carriage is like,
nothing was
said. And luckily for this bitch, the old woman.
How do you really feel, Eshaan?
Yeah, the old woman didn't want the seat because she wanted the one right at the end.
Further along.
So an older, and then a bloke got up. She went to that seat, and then at that point we were all just being like super nice to each other, trying to offer our seat, blah 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 blah. And then so we got to London, and when she got up, I don't know how we knew to do this. The moment she got up to pick up her bag, we all started applauding her.
Amazing.
Isn't that great?
Acknowledging,
it's classic Twitter, though, isn't it? Yeah. And then everyone clapped.
Yeah. Well done.
You've been shamed publicly.
Yeah.
Shame.
That was good. But the thing that.
How brilliant would it have been if you went, oh, she's double your age, do you want to stand up? And she was like, oh yeah, of course, yeah, you know. And then someone who's 264 gone, and it just kept going and going and going. Oh, I'm 512, get up.
Russian doll of old.
I thought what you might have said is if the really old woman, the 162-year-old, was one of those TikTok influencers who dances like an old. She sits down, calm down.
Hey, do you know me? I'm from the early times.
But yeah, I guess the thing that I wanted to get off my chest was the train services in the country are so fucking terrible that it actually creates these horrible situations for members of the public.
But the people are worse.
Yeah.
The people are worse.
You've had troubles today, though. Everything getting cancelled. Fucking meant to get here at 4:45, end up at 5:30 and stuff. Yeah, it's stressful, man. It's just
the reasoning the driver gave was, sorry, we're leaving 10 minutes late. It's due to the excessive number of people trying to get on this train. They're like, what?
Everyone's like,
we're trying to get on the train.
Yeah.
And they cancelled a couple of others, but anyway.
Absolute pain in the ass. Okay. But thanks very much for coming on, man.
Thanks
it's been very fun. It's been very insightful, actually. It's
really vibey.
Yeah. Full of the vibes.
All the vibes.
Do you realise that we went from Viagra to food banks really quickly? So I know what I'm putting in mine.
Food turns me on.
You educated on all of them? Yeah.
Hey,
engineering.
Wait for those homeless care packages. You're going to see a lot of homeless people with a stonk on next year. Have you got anything you want to plug? Obviously, your tour coming up.
Yeah, the tour is coming up. Tickets still available in various cities.
Winchester.
Yeah, Winchester, very available. eshaan.com/tour. That's the main thing.
Oh, good.
Go on, plug. No, you want to plug? That looked a bit cheeky, that face.
I'll tell you off air.
Okay.
Shut up.
All right, okay.
Yeah?
Thank you so much for coming on, mate. Give us 3 things that you hate.
No.
I swear you did this on the last episode.